Saturday, y'all. Hope you're having a great start to your weekend. Please receive a big hug from all of us here at BCP Media Studios. Welcome to Open Source News. This is a family operation. We consider you our family as well. To be adopted into the BCP family is very easy. Just smash that subscribe button. And if you haven't done so yet, hit the like button and put your comments down below. Also, make sure you hit that notification bell so you can be notified when we have uploads or when we do live or premiere videos like we do often at midnight Pacific Standard Time. It's a fun time to be in the chat room with other Patriots, and I'm often leading up to the beginning of a program in the chat room interacting. It's fun. It makes this feel more real for me because I sit here and record this and it goes out to you, but this way there's interaction. And that is one of the beautiful things about the interwebs. All right, folks, let's get right into this. When it comes to what's happening in Russia and Ukraine, I'm going to admit that I see I wouldn't say a division, but I would say a difference in opinion coming from the conservative, let's just say from the right of center groups, conservatives, moderate conservatives, libertarians. There's one camp that thinks, and there's three camps I would say, but there's one camp that says Ukraine is a 100% victim. Putin is invading them, and we must help Ukraine defend herself against Russia. Okay, that we need to get involved in that. Then there's another side that says Putin is the greatest thing since sliced bread, that he is taking down the cabal, the bankers, and all this other stuff, and that he is a good guy, and that everything that he's doing in Ukraine is justified. And then there's a lot of us in the middle that realize that there are truths and lies coming from all three sides. Why? Well, one side is Russia. Putin is taking on the globalists. Tyrants and bad people often take good action. That is why historically we've sometimes unfortunately had to partner with evil people and bad people to prevent a worse evil or another evil. Yes, Putin is taking down the cabal, the globalists, the international bankers, the Nazis, and a whole bunch of other nefarious forces. He has exposed the Satanists in government, the pedos in government. All of these things are true, and they are good for humanity. At the same time, this is knowledge I now have personally from my contact that was in Russia, that had to escape Russia because of the tyranny in the internal part of Russia, because they have no freedom of speech. Dissidents are arrested and jailed, and people do not have freedom and rights to disagree with Putin. And let's not forget, Putin has made himself a ruler for life like Xi Jinping. True leaders in a democratic society, and I know Russia is not the kind of democratic society that we value in the Western world. I understand that. But in the Western world, we value the idea of a democracy like we have in our, I know some people don't like the word democracy. We are a republic in the United States of America, but we are a form of democracy. Our form of democracy is a representative democracy, a republic, a constitutional republic with states and a federal government. Not every country has that. So we have this two divide. Where am I going with this, folks? Well, we now know, or we have this three divide, right? Russia bad, Ukraine bad, and then those of us who realize that there is bad and good on all sides. But the Republicans have absolutely let us know where they stand. 42 Republican senators, including Minority Leader Mitch McConnell, want us to get involved in this conflict by sending MiGs to Ukraine so they can bomb Russians. They don't want us to do sanctions alone. They don't want us to do it. They want us to be actively involved. Okay? NBC News reported More than 40 Senate Republicans are calling on the Biden administration to assist in the transfer of Soviet-era aircraft to Ukraine so it can defend itself against Russian forces. So far, Russian forces have been stymied by stiff Ukrainian resistance, and we must redouble our efforts to prevent a brutal and unlawful takeover of Ukraine. We urge your administration to work with Poland and our NATO allies to expedite the transfer of urgently needed air power, air defense systems, and other combat and support capabilities from the United States, NATO allies, and other European partners to Ukraine. Ukraine is not a member of NATO. Why should we, and I ask for those of you that disagree with me, why should we be providing and pushing for NATO support and arms against a conflict from a non-NATO country and Russia? And let's not forget, folks, that part of the reason this thing is happening in the first place is because Ukraine, for years, have been saying that they weren't planning to be part of NATO, and then they said, yes, we want to be part of NATO. And, of course, Russia is saying, well, if you're part of NATO, that means you're going to put nukes and missiles and arms right on our doorstep on the border with us. Our pretty large border, look at the map, and that's of dangerous to us. We don't want that to happen. Now, of course, we don't just let one big country tell a small country what they should do. But militarily, strategically, and national security-wise, Putin has a point. We had the same point under John F. Kennedy with the Cuban Missile Crisis. Russia bringing their missiles to Cuba, essentially on our doorstep, 90 miles from Key Largo, or Key West. I think that's the most southern part of the United States. 90 miles away from Havana. We had a problem with that. Same way Putin has a problem with that as well. And these 42 Republicans want us to get involved. Well, let's see. Our Senate is 50-50 split. So I want to know exactly who were, not the 42. It'd be easier to know who the 8 are who are opposed to this. So let me give you the full thing. They are calling on Biden to assist in the transfer of these aircraft. And they signaled this to the regime of the former vice president and commander-in-chief, Joseph Robinette Biden, via letter. And it was signed by 42 Republicans. Okay? And this came after U.S. officials rejected a proposal from Poland to transfer its Soviet-era MiG fighters to Ukraine through a U.S. military base in Germany. The Defense Department said a handover like this would be high risk, that could ratchet up tensions with Russia and risk direct military conflict, which is true. We don't want that. But apparently 42 Republicans do. Well, one of the ones that was out there very vocal about this is Republican and shameful senator of Utah, my current home state, where I am right now. He said, send these MiGs, Mitt Romney said at a news conference on Thursday. And the question is, well, why aren't they being sent? Because we've heard now for days that this is something that's been discussed. Enough talk. People are dying. Send them planes that they need. Luckily, here in Utah, we have a sensible other senator who I really like, except for one thing that really bugs me about Mike Lee, and that is he shills for the visa folks in high tech, because Utah is like a new Silicon Valley. Adobe's here, beautiful campus. Other companies are here as well, and have been for a long time. Trivia: remember WordPerfect? Before Microsoft Word was like the big thing around, there was Corel, WordPerfect, all that kind of stuff. That was founded here in Utah. It was a big company here in Utah years ago, decades ago. But Mitt Romney obviously wants this war, or at least wants us to get involved in the war. I don't think he's stupid enough to realize that doing that would involve us in a war with Russia and put us in danger. Our politicians should be looking out for us first before other countries. Lindsey Graham said, a good day for Putin, bad day for Ukraine, and a dishonorable day for America because we're not providing Ukraine with aircraft to defend its airspace. Of the 8 senators who did not sign the letter is obviously Mike Lee of Utah, but also Jim Inhofe of Oklahoma, Bill Hagerty of Tennessee, Jerry Moran of Kansas, Mike Rounds of South Dakota, Cynthia Lummis of Wyoming, Roy Blunt of Missouri. Big hug to my Missouri folks. I do a lot of business in Missouri, and I'm salt of the earth people. Some of my favorite people are in the state of Missouri. And then, of course, this should come as no surprise, Rand Paul of Kentucky. That is really sad, folks. 8 of our 50 Republican senators have the sense to keep us safe and not get involved in a non-NATO country's conflict, assuming that we're supposed to help NATO countries. Okay, Ukraine is not a NATO country. Oh, but of course, we have a lot of shenanigans, bioweapons labs, which we admitted to under Victoria Nuland, even though now we have other people backtracking that comment, and Russia says they have documents that we are there. And we're doing, the experiments were done with all kinds of insects and bats and birds. Of course, this is illegal and wrong against international government, international laws and treaties and what have you. Now, folks, let me give you something very important from the comments I'm seeing. A lot of you folks don't understand my position on something, and I want to be very clear. I am anti-deep state, whether it's the American deep state, the European deep state, the Russian deep state. I am against authoritarian governments left or right. I love and value the Constitution. I am of the opinion that it is a document that has been inspired by God, that he worked through imperfect men, the founding fathers and others, to give us a just about perfect document. And this Constitution of the United States has been the blueprint and has been the template for many countries' constitutions. That's how great it is. But I'm against the deep state and their wars and their subterfuge and all of their skullduggery and works of darkness. I'm against all of that. Their power plays, their perverted satanic rituals and other things that they do behind doors. Not all of them, but many of them. Whether it's their proclivity for age-inappropriate, handsy-grabby nature, or full-on assault of minors and others, whether it's their pervy drug lifestyles, and other things that have victims. Also, as a quasi-libertarian, certain things that are done behind closed doors between consenting adults, I may disagree with 100% those lifestyle choices, but in a free society, we have to allow people to do things that we disagree with if it doesn't harm children and others. But these people are evil and wicked. And yes, when I say I don't like Russia going into Ukraine and having these civilians, and I feel the same way as when George W., another evil man, invaded Iraq. Over 1 million people dead in Iraq because of the invasions. Did you know that? 1 million people died? There's not 1 million people in their military, folks. A lot of civilian casualties, women and children, for unnecessary wars so people make money and have power over these conflicts. Went a bit longer, I wanted on that story, but I feel really strongly about this, folks. Only 8 of our GOP senators are not warmongers. Let me get you the information that's probably going to be my headline story. It is going to be my headline story because this is absolutely incredible. This is from the Federalist. They have an exclusive information from some digging that they did. And our friend, Mr. First name Seth, last name Rich, is going to be validated. It looks like we're going to get the truth, or at least they're looking for the truth when it comes to John Durham. A breaking report by Margot Cleveland at the Federalist. I'm looking at it right here. The title, this is from March 10th, exclusive. Special Counsel's Office is investigating the 2016 DNC server hack. So Margot Cleveland at the Federalist is revealing that Special Prosecutor John Durham is indeed investigating the alleged DNC server hack. And I'll get into a second. For those that are not caught up, I'll get you caught up here in a second. So if you remember let's do it now. In 2016, in the spring, the DNC claimed that their servers were hacked by Russian hacking group Fancy Bear and Cozy Bear. Now, Jim Comey, the liar, asked the DNC to hand over their servers as part of the government's investigation to the hacking. The DNC said, no. CrowdStrike looked at it, and CrowdStrike has said that Russia did it. And the FBI said, oh, okay, that's fine. We'll take your word for it. Because, of course, this was all a partisan political thing for the Democrats to help Hillary Clinton. CrowdStrike, to date, has never offered any evidence to prove that the Russian hacked the DNC emails and sent them to WikiLeaks. We just had to take their word for it. Now, the Federalist obtained emails and found out that the same Georgia Tech researcher embroiled in the Alpha Bank hoax is being investigated for his origins of the Democrat National Committee hacker scandal. So the Alpha Bank hoax that we know that John Durham has been investigating and is investigating, going after people for this, has also embroiled people that were looking into the DNC hack. Now, let me tell you that the DNC hack was not from Russia. It has not been proven, CrowdStrike has never proven it came from Russia, but what we have seen several evidence of, and some people even think proof of, is that there was no hack into the DNC, that the emails that WikiLeaks had and published were actually not hacked, but downloaded from within. It was an inside job. And that person was, I believe, after investigating this and researching this over the last several years, was Mr. Rich, Seth Rich. And Seth Rich was murdered on the streets of a supposed botched robbery in which they took nothing, not his wallet or anything. Okay? If you want to know who I think did it, probably, I haven't looked at the details of this, but I remember it's probably some MS-13 or some paid low-level crook assassins did it, and then those guys were wiped out later, so there's no connection. Because it does go back to the crime family associated with the Clinton Foundation, the DNC. We have from WikiLeaks emails that Podesta and others were saying, hey, we need to teach these people a lesson. And Seth lost his life so they could convey that message, which the Clintons have done multiple times. Look it up. They have a kill list that is statistically impossible to have that many people have mysterious deaths and murders associated with Billy and Hillary. We also know that Julian Assange offered a $20,000 reward for information on the murder of Seth Rich. One of the first times I got in trouble on this platform was when I had the video, which you can now see, but actually the first video I ever had taken down by this platform and had a problem with this platform was when I showed the WikiLeaks founder, Julian Assange, on a Dutch television program talking about Seth Rich and talking about their leakers and their sources and whistleblowers, pretty much saying without saying it that Seth Rich was the person that had transferred the information to WikiLeaks. He was murdered, and he's offering a $20,000 reward for information. Of course, James Comey, the FBI, and the deep state, and the Marxists, and those that were trying to destroy President Trump have said, per CrowdStrike, because the FBI supposedly never looked at the information, that it was Russian hack that transferred the stuff to WikiLeaks. Well, we know that that's not true. That was Seth Rich, and it looks like we're going to get that information big time as John Durham is going down that route. Okay, so we know a lot of people like Adam Schiff and stuff have pushed the deep state lie about the DNC being hacked by Russians, but this is what we're finding out from this information, this exclusive from the Federalist. Exclusive. Special Counsel's Office is investigating the 2016 DNC server hack. There was previously no known connection between the Special Counsel and the government's investigation into the 2016 Democratic National Committee hack. The U.S. Department of Defense tasked the same Georgia Tech researcher embroiled in the Alpha Bank hoax with investigating the origins of the DNC hacker, according to an email first obtained by the Federalist this past week. That email also indicates the Special Counsel's office is investigating the investigation into the DNC hack, and that prosecutors harbor concerns about the DOD's decision to involve the Georgia Tech researcher in its probe. The special counsel branded this person Researcher 1 in court filings. His identity has since been confirmed by his attorney as Georgia Tech's Manos Antonakakis. He first made public attention when special counsel John Durham indicted former Hillary Clinton campaign attorney Michael Sussman. That one-count indictment charged the former Perkins Coie attorney with lying to FBI General Counsel James Baker when Sussman provided Baker data and white papers purporting to show a secret communication network between the Russian-based Alpha Bank and the Trump organization. We now know that this is false. Now let's look into Antonakakis. According to the indictment, Antonakakis queried internet data maintained by Joffe's tech company for the TrumpEmail.com domain. So this is the connection between Antonakakis, Perkins Coie, and John Durham. Well, it has been known since Sussman's indictment dropped in September 2021 that the Georgia Tech researchers had allegedly reviewed the Alpha Bank data and one of the white papers Sussman provided to the FBI. There was previously no known connection to the government's investigation into the DNC hack. However, email contained in a cache of documents obtained from Georgia Tech pursuant to a right-to-know request reveals that Antonakakis' involvement in the investigation into the DNC. Antonakakis reviewed the Alpha Bank white paper Hillary Clinton's campaign lawyers later allegedly provided to the FBI in an effort to implicate Trump in a Russia conspiracy. This same man professes that data-driven scientific attributions is politically unbiased, even though he believed a DNS expert would poke several holes in the hypothesis underlying the white paper given the government. So, not going into detail here so that we don't get lost. Here's a man that behind the scenes knew that the Hillary Clinton thing didn't hold water, yet is part of the whole Alpha Bank data story. But now it appears that DARPA, with this gentleman, had access to the DNC server and data and are being asked, what is the connection between DARPA, this man, and the DNC hack or hacker in the first place? In other words, as the John Durham team has been looking into the Alpha Bank thing, they're finding players within DARPA, this Antonakakis guy, that they were also having, because of emails, they were talking about the server. The public storyline until now had been that CrowdStrike, the cybersecurity firm Sussman hired in April 2016, had concluded Russians had hacked the DNC server, and that the FBI, which never examined the server, concurred in that conclusion. Intelligence agencies and former special counsel Robert Mueller likewise concluded that Russian agents were behind the DNC hack, but with little public details provided. It now appears that DARPA had some role in that assessment, or rather, Antonakakis did on behalf of DARPA, which leads to a whole host of other questions, including whether DARPA had access to the DNC server and data, and if so, from whom did the DoD research arm get that access? Was it Sussman? So what we have here is, in looking at Sussman, John Durham wants to know what information they have into who was looking at the DNC hack. These same people he has going down showing that they lied about Alpha Bank, and he's going down the rabbit hole of proving that the DNC hack was also a fake and false and a partisan exercise. And as he gets there, he's going to have, and because he's asking DARPA and this hired hacker or this hired person who looked into it, who had access to it, what did you find when you were looking into the origins of the DNC hack? They're going to find out that they have nothing because the Russians didn't do it. And it's going to verify, validate, and show to the public that it was an inside job that it was Seth Rich who did it and he lost his life because of it. That will be the conclusion if and when John Durham goes all the way to the source of the DNC hack, which these emails are revealing. That is the path he's on. Thanks for being here, folks. We will have more reports for you this weekend. Smash the like button, hit the subscribe button, put your comments down below, and make sure you hit that notification bell. Also, check out our off-platform show at therealbcp.com or bcpextras.com. Also on Spotify at bcppodcast.com. Until the next one, ciao, goodbye.